Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Report, and you're watching Overreaction Monday. I'm going to tell you this right now. I am going to be fiery. I'm going to be hot. It's going to be spicy because Josh McDaniels is a effing moron. Dude's a clown. There's not enough adjectives that I can simply sit up here and explain to you how much that I dislike this. Can't even call him a man. He's a boy trying to teach a bunch of grown men how to play football. Coming up now is going to be our Overreaction Monday, the top 3 biggest trending topics around this game after the Raiders get embarrassed in Chicago against one of the worst teams in the NFL, 30-12. Josh McDaniels, we know, is a bad head coach. We know McDaniels is a bad leader, and hopefully Mark Davis watches this so he can smarten the hell up and fire this douchebag, because I can't stand to watch him piss all over the Shield anymore. If McDavis, that's honestly what I should call him, McDavis, because they're both just idiotic. If Mark Davis cared even a little bit about Al Davis's legacy, if he cared about even a little bit about the term commitment to excellence, he would fire Josh McDaniels right now at this moment. And I'm telling you right now, we're going to talk about Brian Hoyer. We're going to talk about Josh McDaniels. We're going to talk about Jimmy Garoppolo. We're going to talk about Aidan O'Connell. Let's go. Those are the biggest topics of discussion after this 30-12 game that the Raiders fans, unfortunately, had to watch on Sunday. But this is probably the biggest question entering Week 8, Monday Night Football against the Detroit Lions. And the Lions, they lost 38-6 against the Ravens. So you got two teams that are going all freaking into this Monday Night Football game. But let me know, and my answer is going to be on today's show. But if you follow me on social media, you probably know where I already stand. Jimmy Garoppolo, Brian Hoyer, Aidan O'Connell, who should start for the Raiders entering Week 8 on Monday Night Football. Let's now go to Overreaction Monday here on the Raiders Report. The Raiders are screwed with Josh McDaniels. Let me make this very clear. I can sit up here all day, every day, and I can say the Raiders should make this move. The Raiders should trade for that guy. Raiders should sign this player. Hunter Renfrow deserves more snaps. Aidan O'Connell deserves to get playing time over Brian Hoyer. I can sit up here and I can beg about all these moves that should happen, but nothing matters until you fire Josh McDaniels. This is 4 just win babies. Believe it, baby. McDaniels is the worst football coach that I have seen in a very long time. I beg the Raiders to never hire him, and the fact that they still have this guy employed, it's a clown show. It's a shit show. To me, I would take anything to not have McDaniels here any longer. And I'm telling you this right now, when the Raiders finally smarten up and they decide to move on from this guy, I'm going to be live for 24 straight hours. There is nothing more that I want this season than to fire McDaniels. I wore my Lost jersey. Shout out to Lost. He's one of the OG Raiders Report watchers here. But the Raiders are lost right now. And it's because you got this guy at the steering wheel. He's trying to direct traffic. It's clear as day. He has no idea what he's doing. He got out-coached tonight by Matt Eberflus. Like, when you think about the entire offensive game plan that the Raiders have, you barely stretch the ball down the field. You dink and dunk the entire time. You kick a field goal when you're down 21-3. There is nothing that inspires any confidence in this offensive guru. And if for anybody out there that thinks that McDaniels is an offensive guru, you probably believe in the Loch Ness Lake Monster. And I know how I had a lot of Raider fans that yelled at me over the past 48 hours because I was upset that McDaniels decided to roll with Brian Hoyer. Well, guess what? You saw what Brian Hoyer is. Brian Hoyer's not a top 40 quarterback in the NFL. And the reason why I was so damn upset is because I knew what was going to happen today if the Raiders started Brian Hoyer. That's a cold, hard fact. Now, you're not going to agree with everything that I say on the show. That's fine. But if there's a single Raider fan that can still sit here on Monday morning after watching that Raiders team do what they did, and if you still think that Josh McDaniels is the right guy, I got no hope for you, man. I got no hope for you. There's nothing I can sit up here and tell you that's going to change your mind. But if you're a Raider fan out there and you think that the nation deserves better, if you're a Raider fan out there that's sick and tired of watching this team be the laughingstock of the NFL, if you're a Raider fan out there that just simply wants Josh McDaniels to get fired because you know that this organization is not going to go anywhere with that guy, that person, that God complex human being, with him being the head coach of this team, if you want the Raiders to fire McDaniels, hit that subscribe button. Let's go to the next statement here, and this was reported by Adam Schefter that Jimmy Garoppolo should be healthy enough to play Week 8 against the Detroit Lions on Monday Night Football. So should the Raiders start Jimmy G Week 8? I'm going to give you my answer here in just a second. But shout out to today's sponsor, Factor Meals. After our watch party on Sunday, I went home. I had to calm down a little bit, and I'm sure a lot of y'all were the exact same way. I know some of you are like, Mitch, man, it's early, it's Monday, and you're already bringing this energy? Well, guess what? I'm bringing the energy because I got fed. I got a nice freaking meal when I went home to my fiance, to my dog Chuck, because I needed something to put a smile on my face. In Factor, being able to go home, get a nice warm meal that I was able to pop in the microwave, tasted great. No cleanup, no prep. It was simple. It was easy. It was exactly what I needed. So head to factormeals.com/RaidersChat50 and use code RaidersChat50 to get 50% off. Nation, that's code RaidersChat50 at factormeals.com/RaidersChat50 to get 50% off. I know that sometimes cooking meals can be frustrating. I know that figuring out what you're about to make for dinner, it can be a difficult thing. But the most frustrating part is always cleaning up. If you're a Raider fan right now and you don't have Factor Meals, you're just trying to frustrate yourself more. With this team, with this organization, with Josh McDaniels, Sundays are going to be stressful. So guess what? Make your Sundays easier. Make your Mondays easier. Get some Factor Meals. Have some high-quality food that tastes great at factormeals.com/RaidersChat50. Link's going to be available to you guys down in the comments and down in the description of today's show. So should the Raiders start Jimmy G Week 8 when he's been reported that he's going to be healthy enough to go against the Lions? F to the no. Jimmy Garoppolo should not start in this game. This is tuck rule, tuck that. This is what the Raiders need to do. You need to leave Josh McDaniels in Chicago or tell McDaniels to just take a vacation. Go somewhere else, because as long as the Raiders don't have McDaniels, you have a shot to win. And here's the other thing. You can't go with Jimmy G in Week 8. What's really frustrating is the Raiders had a chance to stretch the field against the Bears because you had an opportunity with Brian Hoyer to move the ball down the field, and unfortunately, you got a head coach that's just got his head so far up his ass that he has no idea what the hell's happening. I mean, when McDaniels sits up there and says, puts all the blame on the players, which is what he did in his post-game press conference, he put all the blame on the players. But I don't want Jimmy G to go out there because this offense isn't going to be able to click with Jimmy G. Brian Hoyer sucks at QB. Jimmy Garoppolo sucks at QB. And guess what? That also falls on McDaniels' shoulders because good job, Josh. You decided to bring in both QBs that have no idea that. I don't even think either of these guys right now is a top 40 quarterback. You got to roll. You got to roll with your rookie. And that's where our last part of discussion here is. AOC, Aidan O'Connell, he's got to start from here on out. This is 4 just win babies. Believe it, baby. And the only way, to me, that McDaniels is even going to be able to kind of save his job is if Aidan goes out there from here on out and he shows that, hey, I might be able to be the quarterback of the future. Because if you continue to roll with Jimmy Garoppolo, you're not going to put up points. If you decide to roll with Brian Hoyer, you're not going to put up any points. So here's your chance to roll with Aidan O'Connell. And is he ready? No, he's not ready. But that falls on your head coach's shoulders because you decided to sign a quarterback that's made of glass. You decided to bring in a backup QB in Brian Hoyer who stinks. And now you're going to put your 4th-round rookie who you traded up for in a tough position because that's what your head coach has decided to do, because that's what you need to do. Aidan didn't get any run until the final 5 minutes of the 4th quarter when the Raiders were losing 21-6. I mean, the fact that you weren't even able to score a touchdown unless it was garbage time against one of the worst teams in the NFL, the Chicago Bears, tells you everything you need to know. This offense is going nowhere with Josh McDaniels as head coach. You have Davante Adams, Josh Jacobs, Jakobi Meyers, Hunter Renfrow, a good offensive line, a decent offensive line, and yet you can't put up any points. You want somewhere to blame? The blame goes on McDaniels' shoulders. That's the only place where this blame deserves to go. So if you want Aidan O'Connell to start at quarterback for the Las Vegas Raiders, I want to see nothing but AOCs. And here's my promise to the nation. I'm going to turn up the heat this week. I don't want Raider fans to sit there and be frustrated. And I hear you. But here's also what I'm going to say. I know a lot of Raider fans work hard for their money. And I'm boycotting going to Raiders games. If you're a Raider fan out there and you're thinking about going to a a Raiders game in week 9, you're thinking about going to a Raiders game week 10, don't go. Don't go to a Raiders game. Allegiant Stadium, don't go. Until this man is fired here, don't go to a game. Boycott it. And I hate being that person to even say that, and I don't even want to be the dude that says how people should spend their money, but the only reason why I say that is because I'm sitting up here right now and I'm telling y'all I wouldn't spend a single dollar going to a Raiders game this season. If you want to go tailgate, you want to go out to Las Vegas, hang out with, guys like Graphic Raider, Raider Cody, myself, Marquette King, you want to go party with the nation, go party with the nation. But in terms of Sunday, spending my hard-earned money on going to watch the Raiders when this guy's running the team, I ain't doing it. So if you could do me a big favor, and I want you to get this boycott going, because as far as I'm concerned, it's the only way Mark Davis is going to wake up and he realizes that he hired a clown. Because, dude, unless the Raiders start doing circus shows at Allegiant Stadium, that's the only way that this guy deserves to be on the sidelines. Now, my name is Mitchell Renz. I am host of the Raiders Report. I'm going to do my best to keep you guys up to date. Instagram, Twitter. If you want more reactions, hit me up on Cameo. I'm also at Mitchell Renz 365 there. The Raiders deserve better. Raider Nation deserves better. But until they fire Josh McDaniels, everything that I talk about on a daily basis, everything that y'all talk about on a daily basis, doesn't matter. Because you got a clown at head coach. And when the Raiders finally smarten up, I don't know if it's today, I don't know if it's tomorrow, it might be a year from now. But when the Raiders finally realize that McDaniels is not the right guy and they fire his fucking ass, I'm going to be live here on the show for 24 straight hours, and I can't wait, and I'll see you then.